is currently the wealthiest man in the world. And not only is he the wealthiest man, he is the first trillionaire in dollars that the world has ever recorded. As a matter of undiluted facts, he's currently wealthier than the annual GDP of South Africa, Nigeria, and Egypt. One man. But anyway, guys, today's video is not about Elon Musk. It's about his company, SpaceX, that recently went public. SpaceX was founded by Elon Musk in 2002 with the mission of making the cost of transportation to space cheaper, making humans live on multiple planets, and also expanding civilization beyond the Earth. I don't know what Elon Musk is on, but as for me, I'm still like, there's still so many countries in this world that I've not visited. I don't know what we're going to look for in space. But that's just my own personal opinion. I really don't know what we're going to look for in space. There's still so much to do on this earth. But anyway, that's by the way. SpaceX is known for its multiple business lines. One of them is the development of reusable rockets. Second one is Starlink, which is its low Earth orbit internet service. And then more recently, XAI. That's its artificial intelligence business line that powers the likes of Grok and X, formerly known as Twitter. From an investor's point of view, Starlink is a very, very important business line. If you live on this side of the divide, which is Nigeria, Starlink is one of the most expensive internet service providers. And other than that, Starlink is a very valuable business line or business unit for SpaceX due to its recurring business model. Individuals and institutions are able to subscribe to its internet service, which has actually been doing well and has expanded so quickly, like at the speed of light. Between 2023 to 2026, Starlink's subscribers have grown and multiplied from 2.3 million to about 10 million. SpaceX, on the other hand, is not just another tech company. It is part of the infrastructure layer of the future economy. And I'm very careful about using future here because, first of all, this is one very ambitious goal, right? I think you have to have like a crazy and insane level of conviction and boldness and audacity for you to want to embark on such an endeavor. That said, it's also a company that is going to be very, very hard to compete against because building rockets, right, going to Mars, going to space, it's expensive to want to do stuff like that. And personally, I think that if he's ever going to achieve this goal, right, if he's even ever going to achieve it, it's going to take years and decades. Like it's going to take quite some time for him to actually be able to achieve this goal. I feel like it's going to take a lot of trial and error and maybe a couple of disasters in between for him to be able to successfully achieve this goal. We've spoken about Starlink, we've spoken about the rocket business. Now let's move to XAI. Like I said initially, XAI is the artificial intelligence unit of the company that powers Grok and X, formerly known as Twitter. XAI has some giant competitors like ChatGPT of OpenAI, Claude of Anthropic, and then Gemini of Google. For me, when it comes to this whole SpaceX IPO, this is the actual red flag, or maybe the red banner, not even a red flag. When you look at the adoption of XAI, it pales in comparison to its competitors. The adoption of XAI is actually very low when you compare it to its other competitors. In 2025, SpaceX reported $18.7 billion in revenue, but it also posted a net loss of $4.9 billion. Out of that total pie of $18.7 billion, Starlink alone generated about $11.4 billion, which is 61% of the total pie. And not only did it generate 61% of the total pie, it was also the only profitable business line with about $4.4 billion in operating profits. The space business line generated about $4.1 billion but recorded a huge loss due to Starship development. And like we already said initially, building rockets, is a very capital intensive and very expensive venture. As for XAI, he only recorded $3.2 billion in revenue, but he also had a very huge loss. As a matter of fact, recorded more losses than the space business line. According to publicly available information, in 2025, about 61% of SpaceX capital expenditure went into XAI alone. Meanwhile, it only generates 17% of SpaceX's revenue. And as of this year, 2026, that 61% injection or that 61% capital expenditure has increased to 76%. I know that might sound like a lot of information for you to digest. You're probably wondering, what does this have to do with me? How is this any of my business? So let's get to the part that concerns you. Recently, the Nasdaq 100, which is the ETF that has listed 100 of the largest non-financial companies, of which most of them are tech companies, changed some of its modus operandi. There was an adjustment or a change to its index inclusion rule. Prior to when this news broke out, when a new company goes public, it has to wait about 3 months before it is listed on the ETF. Why? Because a lot of times when a company goes live, the initial price during an IPO is usually very high, and that is because it's usually driven by sentiment, by hype, and by scarcity. The initial price that you see when an IPO goes live is not necessarily a true reflection of the market. Oftentimes, after 3 to 6 months, the price begins to decline and go down. That inclusion rule has been changed from 3 months to 15 days. For anyone who owns a Nasdaq 100 ETF or even a VTI ETF, which I own, you will be forced to buy SpaceX, because you remember that how an ETF works is you don't get to handpick the stocks. The people who control the index, they are the ones who actually handpick the stocks and then put them there. You don't have the liberty to actually choose your stocks individually. So that means whether you like it or not, if SpaceX has been added to your index, you are investing in SpaceX whether you like it or not. It has already been automatically added there, so your money is going there whether you do like it or not. If this rule has been changed from 3 months to 15 days, if there's still a very high probability or a very high chance that the price that stock is going to be selling for on day 15 after its IPO is still going to be a very high price, which is not a true reflection of the market. So you're going to be buying it at a very high price. We're trying to tie this all together. This whole information and development is still unfolding. It remains to be seen what SpaceX is going to look like, in the next 3 to 6 months. We don't know whether the price will go up, or we don't know whether the price will dwindle. We really don't know that for sure. But as of the day that IPO went live, a share of SpaceX stock was already selling at $150, which is quite a high amount. They had already projected that it was going to sell at $135, but it actually beat that projection and eventually sold at $150. I don't even know what it's going to be selling at by tomorrow, which is going to be a Monday, but that remains to be seen. I just thought it wise to share all of this information with you. If you even want to buy SpaceX, I think it's something that you might just want to calm down a bit and see what the market is going to look like over the next 3 to 6 months. I can also argue that Elon Musk knows what he's doing, because I know there are some Elon Musk enthusiasts who really just believe in his government and believe in his vision, and they strongly believe in what he does as a person. So if you're one of those people, that's fine. I'm not here to dissuade you. It's really up to you. But personally, I think for now, because I own VTI, which is an index fund, and they are most likely going to add SpaceX to their basket of stocks, for now I might just be reducing my position in that index fund and be increasing my position with some of the individual stocks that I already own. But yeah, I think I really am just going to keep my ears to the ground for now and see how things will play out over the next couple of months. But yeah guys, let me know what you think in the comment section. SpaceX, are you team SpaceX or or not? Do you think you're going to be buying it, or do you think you're going to wait it out? Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.